Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gavin Toth, and today I would like to address a controversial issue that has been stirring up a lot in the debate of world sports, particularly in the baseball community. The issue is the New York Yankees facial hair policy, which has been in place for decades. Recently, several articles have been published criticizing this policy and a call for it to be modernized and abolished altogether. Today, I'll be discussing those articles and providing my own perspective on why the current policy should be changed. I would reach out to the Yankees organization, either the owner or general manager, to attempt to change this policy. So let's start by understanding the origin of the Yankees grooming policy. According to the article on MLB.com, the policy was introduced in 1973 by the late George Steinbrenner, who was the owner of the Yankees at the time. Steinbrenner believed that having a clean-shaved face was a sign of professionalism and that it would help his players present a better image to the public. Since then, the team management has enforced the policy, and players who violate it are subject to fines or disciplinary actions. Many players have tried to fight this policy by not shaving and were either immediately benched or were traded from the team. So now let us turn to the articles that have been published recently, all of which challenge the Yankees facial hair policy. The first article I would like to discuss is from USA Today, titled Aaron Judge Should Challenge the Yankees Facial Hair Policy. This article argues that the policy is outdated and arbitrary and that it should not be enforced in the modern era. The author cites examples of other teams that have relaxed the grooming policy, such as the Houston Astros and the San Francisco Giants, and suggests that the Yankees should follow suit. The article also highlights the fact that several players on the Yankees roster, including Judge, who is their star player himself, have expressed desires to grow a beard or mustaches, but have been prevented from doing so by the team's management. Relaxing this policy will help gain new players for the team while also keeping old players. A star player like Aaron Judge is not someone you want to lose from your roster, especially because he has a beard. And furthermore, you don't want to potentially miss out on signing other stars from other teams just because they want to have a beard or a different hairstyle. The second article is from Bleacher Report titled, It's Time for the New York Yankees to Modernize Their Facial Hair Policy. This article echoes many of the same articles as the USA Today piece, but goes a step further by calling the Yankees to completely abolish their grooming policy. The author argues that the policy is not only outdated, but discriminatory as it disproportionately affects players of color who are more likely to have facial hair. The article also points out that many successful teams in recent years, such as the Boston Red Sox and the Dodgers, have not enforced strict grooming policies, and that the Yankees should take note of this and make changes accordingly. There are many different styles of hair amongst different communities, and it is offensive not to allow players and coaches to wear their facial hair or hair the way they want to. The Yankees should remove the policy to support everyone. The third article is from the New York Post titled, Yankees Need to End Outdated Facial Hair Policy. This article takes a slightly different approach, arguing that the Yankees policy is not only outdated, but is also detrimental to the team's performance. The author suggests that the policy creates a distraction and tensions within the team, and it may be contributing to the Yankees' recent lack of success on the field. The article also points out that the policy has always been strictly enforced and that there have been instances in the past where players were not allowed to grow beards and mustaches. Furthermore, this article discusses another reason the Yankees have the policy is so their famous pinstripe jerseys will not be overshadowed and ruined by the hair. Although in recent years, the MLB has enforced their own policy where all teams must place an athletic logo on their jersey, which the Yankees have followed by placing the Nike logo on their jerseys. This logo infringes on the famous pinstripes, much like the hair would, which brings the question if the jersey's already infringed on. So in that case, there would be no reason to keep the bearded policy if the jersey's already being ruined from their famous look with a logo that has already been put on it. Lastly, the MLB.com article I mentioned earlier provides some historical context to the Yankees grooming policy and suggests that the policy may have been in response to countercultural movement of the 60s and the 70s. The article notes that many baseball players at the time grew long hair and beards, which was against Steinbrenner's military background. This again goes to show this policy is outdated from the 60s and 70s and needs to be updated or removed. In conclusion, the Yankees' no beard policy is outdated, discriminatory, and could cost the Yankees star players. While players from different backgrounds rock different beards and hairstyles, this policy could force them to miss out on those good players. who want to have those hairstyles and cause them to miss out on championships, which, as a Yankee fan myself, I would not like to see. If the Yankees do not want to remove the policy altogether, they should consider amending it, maybe allowing players to have a beard or grow their hair the way they want it, but as long as they keep it well cut and clean. Overall, this is one of the weirdest policies I've ever heard, and to me, it seems unnecessary for them to keep it. Thank you for listening. And any questions?
I got a question. I mean, not to my knowledge, but I was just wondering if you know of any other sports or like teams that have ever done this before, or like,
Not to my knowledge. Like a couple of the articles said, I think the Astros or another team might have had this policy back in the day, but have removed it since it just makes no sense.
I have a question for you. So obviously this is kind of like a traditional, if it was in the 70s, like they upheld it because of the traditional aspect that they have. Do you think this change in policy could potentially hurt their outside endorsements or, their sponsorships because it is kind of a branding aspect of the Yankees?
Um, I wouldn't say necessarily it would. Like for instance, again with the logo on their jersey, that was never there for the longest time, and I remember whatever. I think they did that about 4 years ago, and I remember seeing it, and yeah, I did think it was a little weird, but I've gotten used to it now. So I think maybe at first people will be like, "What the heck?" But over time, they'll just get used to it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question for you. But first, I'm a Yankees fan. So
There we go.
I do have a little bit of knowledge about the subject. My first question is, do you know of any players that have outright come out and said that they have a problem with the facial hair policy recently?
Um, I don't remember exactly who it was, but I think someone a couple years ago, I think he was already having problems with the Yankees. And he decided to grow out his beard as a way of being like, I don't like you guys, yada yada. And I think they ended up getting rid of him. I forget who it was, but yeah, that's the only player to my knowledge. But some players have shown like they will be rocking a beard on another team. Garrett Cole did that. Jambi did that. They were rocking a beard for whatever team they played for before, and then they had to come to the Yankees and shave it, which I don't think they were happy about, but they just, dealt with it.
So, what about the hair on their head? Do they have to have like fresh haircuts too, or is it just facial hair?
I think they're not allowed to have like super long hair because again, they don't want it covering the pinstripes. I think it has to be like above their
Got
shoulder at
it.
least. But yeah, and then the beard, they can't just have it all.
Okay.
And I know you kind of mentioned this before, like covering the pinstripes. Is that their only reasoning for not having facial hair? I don't know if a beard would go all the way down here, even if you just have like a short one.
I don't know if it's their only reasoning. I think it's part of it, but I think it's just the Yankees are supposed to be this prestigious, like we are the team of baseball. We are this team that's yada yada. So they just, trying to keep their, I guess, branding as this high class yada yada.
Interesting.
One last question for you. So, do you think that there's going to be outside pressure from other organizations? Because it seems as though the Yankees, this policy has been going on for 50 years. So, do you think there's going to be any incentive for them to change what they're doing if there doesn't seem to be much outcry except for media sources and other teams who maybe don't like the Yankees?
I think people just think it's weird. I don't think there will be that much pressure to change it. Unless again, like some player they really, really want is like, I'm not coming unless you get rid of it. But, I don't think people have that big of a problem with it, but it is just a little interesting that they have that policy.
So I know when you emailed me, I told you that I've heard this topic. I've actually heard it a couple times. And one of the common arguments that students will make, and I just want to see your opinion on it, is they will say that it is infringing on the player's rights for freedom of expression. Agree or disagree?
I would agree with that. Again, like I said, like people should be able to, rock their style however they want. There's a lot of people in the world who have unique haircuts and actually other players in sports. James Harden, who plays basketball for the Philadelphia 76ers, has his famous giant beard, which again is like, his look and everything. So yeah, I think people should be able to, rock the hairstyle they want.
Yeah, I mean, agree because when he played for the Thunder, like that was part of like
Yeah.
their marketing. It was like fear the beard.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I mean, I can see that.
I have one last question that kind of reminded me whenever you said that. So they're not allowed to have facial hair, but what about like tattoos? I feel like that's more of a discrepancy if you want to argue that than facial hair. Um,
I
are they
think
allowed to have tattoos?
I think they're allowed to have tattoos. I'm pretty sure. I've heard nothing that they have a policy against it. I'm pretty sure I've seen Yankee players with tattoos, but yeah, it's just the beard, I think. Again, weird, just one weird policy.
I think that would be more quote unquote distracting or infringing if
Yeah.
you want to say that than a beard. So that made me think of it.
Yeah.
So I had to ask.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, I think you're good to stop your recording.